Welcome back to MFO, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to another episode. Last week, I did a small little mention in one of my videos about the Logan Latuso disqualification. And quite honestly, I thought I had said enough here. But as I'm watching some of the other things that come out regarding that situation, and specifically a video that was put out by Derek Hudnall, who, from my understanding based on the video, is a close friend of Logan, who kind of came out in support of Logan. But he asked a question, and he asked a question of what's the solution? And I have the solution. I mean, there is no doubt in my mind what the solution is to this situation. And rather than doing a video that complains about Bass or that throws Logan under the bus or whatever, if people are looking for the solution, this is the solution, guys. So stick around. We're going to come back. I'm going to show you some clips from both of these videos that I've seen over the last week, and I'm going to give you the answer. Welcome back to Mark Fisher Outdoors, everybody. I'm Mark Fisher, and like I said, I would like to show you the clip. I'm going to run the full clip of Logan Latuso's explanation of what, from his side of things, what he perceives happened to him regarding the DQ on 10 Killer. So let's watch this first.
All right, I'm sure everyone's aware of the DQ from 10 Killer. Been getting a bunch of phone calls, messages, text messages, everybody asking what happened. So here it is. After the event, got selected for a random polygraph. Took the polygraph. The guy said, "Hey, you got a little question, you issue with this question. What's the deal? Did you see anything on social media that maybe not everybody has seen?" I said, "There is this one guy that I follow for a long time, just Facebook friends, and he posted a couple pictures with his kids and said, can't wait to see what the Elite Series catch is, and I hope Carl or Blake Caps wins." And ended up passing the polygraph. Walked out. Dude said, "You passed, good." A couple days later, get a phone call saying the test results have come back inconclusive. From there, had to set up an appeal in Houston. Went there 2 weeks later, and you can imagine the amount of anxiety that built up, you know, wondering what you did wrong, the fear of failing, the fear of your career on the line. Go there, and could have pretty much stayed home. That dude failed me as soon as I got there, it felt like, and got a phone call, said I was DQ'd for failing the appeal. And I said, well, that don't seem right. I got a pass, an inconclusive, and a fail. So made a couple phone calls, tried to fight my case, and then it come back to me from somebody else that the pass was a mistake by a professional polygraph guy. I don't know how they score them. I don't know nothing about it, but to me it should be black or white. And then I had to hear from somebody else that it was a mistake. So I sent everything in, and they said you did nothing wrong. It was a public post, but you failed the appeal. And then it got weird when I heard it was a mistake, which I don't understand how that happens. So yeah, feel like I got robbed of a dream. Feel like I got robbed of a career. And here we are. Got till Friday to make a decision, see what we're gonna do. But y'all been asking, there it is.
So that's Logan's side of things, and you know, he took his side. Now again, I don't know any of the facts with this, so I'm not making any judgments. I want to play a few different clips from Derek Hudnall's video, in which he is supportive of Logan, but he also asks a question. And again, guys, I'm being honest here. What you saw with Logan's video was the full video. What you're going to see here with Derek's video, I'm chopping it up a little bit to make it a little shorter and just to get the gist of what he's saying in support of Logan and the question he's asking. So admittedly, I'm editing this one down. Take a look here.
What's up, guys? Something that I really feel like I need to talk about that just happened. And I don't like posting controversial stuff or anything like that, but I'm sure most of you have probably heard that Logan Latuso was disqualified for the 10 Killer event this year at the Elite Series. And this is something that really, that's happened quite a bit ago, but it's just now kind of coming to light. First off, I know Logan very well. He has been on the Elite Series, fished with me for a couple of years. He's dreamed about it his whole life. And many of you probably know Robbie Latuso, who fished in the Elite Series for a couple of years. And, Robbie and my dad used to fish tournaments together when we were younger. He's from right here in Baton Rouge, where I was born and raised and still live now. So I've known this kid a long time. He is a dreamer. He's always dreamed of being here. He doesn't cause trouble. You'll never hear him say anything controversial. Nobody is not hated by anybody. This wouldn't really... If you're an angler right now because of this, I think you should be scared. And I know Bass has made a pretty big emphasis, really everybody, all the professional circuits have made an emphasis on polygraphs and keeping people honest. I have to stand by. I understand that part, but the polygraphs are not 100% accurate, and this is one of them. And I would stand behind that statement. So my question is, what is the fix to keep something like this from happening? Like, what's the solution to, number one, holding people accountable, keeping people honest, but then the anxiety? Like, if I was still on the Elite Series right now, I would be scared to death to get picked because of what just happened.
So the question is, what should we do about it? Well, I think that Bass and, quite honestly, other tournament organizations have been kind of given a mandate or a directive by the tournament anglers that they want to hold anglers accountable for the no information rule. And the only way that they seem to have that to do is using the polygraph. That being said, what we see happen in a number of these situations is Bass does its, quote, investigation, it does its polygraph, it, interviews people and talks to people. But then what you get is a small paragraph that's buried somewhere on the website that says, so-and-so's been disqualified for failing to do this, blah, 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 and it's over. And there's no other explanation for it at all. Meanwhile, what happens is the angler, whoever that angler is, doesn't matter whether it's Scott Martin or Matt Herron or Logan Latuso or whomever, ends up having the ability to go on social media and control the narrative from their perspective. And again, I'm not saying, I am not saying that is accurate or not accurate. What I am saying is it's a one-sided conversation. The organization that has supposedly done its research, done its investigation, and come to the decision to disqualify an angler, which has dire consequences, especially in this case with Logan, puts out one little blurb and says nothing else. I believe that the solution to this is that the organization, the tournament organization, needs to come out with more information. So, and again, I am saying this hypothetically to illustrate it, not to point to Logan or to anyone else. But if the angler says, hey, you know what, all I did was watch a video that was public information, but Bass knows that, no, that's not what you did, that was put up, you watched it, and then it was taken down right away. I'm making that up as an example, or any number of other things, and we know that that's the case, and we found that out because of the way you answered your truth verification test. Then Bass has an obligation to put those facts out there so that they even out the narrative, so that the angler doesn't just control the narrative from that point forward. And the reason I'm saying that is because, number one, if Bass can't do that, if they can't support the reason that they did that, then they shouldn't be making that decision. But if they can support it and they have evidence to support it, number one, that will increase the trust level and the support level that the fans and that the other anglers have of the organization. That, yep, you did your investigation, you found out it's true, and this guy's trying to control the narrative and say that one thing happened when Bass is saying, no, that's not all that happened, there was something else, and we know what that is, and we're going to put that out there if you try and say that it wasn't there. So, and again, risky, yeah, risk of lawsuits, yeah, but those risks of lawsuits, in my opinion, are there anyway. When you disqualify somebody and potentially cost them their career and standings for the season and everything else, you've got that risk anyway. You might as well, if you're going to go ahead and take that stance and you have the evidence to back it up, you should put that evidence out there, especially if the angler is trying to control the narrative in their favor. And they're doing that because they know that Bass is just going to keep quiet and not say a word. And so in the court of public opinion, I think this is a situation where you do kind of want to put that out there. And you're doing that to protect the organization, okay? And you're doing it to prevent other anglers from going, hey, even if I cheat, even if I do this, I'm going to be able to get my side out there, and that's the only side that people are going to hear. If anglers know that the tournament organization is willing to put that dirty laundry out there, if the angler protests that, in social media, then I think that would be a solution to the problem. And again, if Bass doesn't have that evidence, then they shouldn't be DQing. They should feel a lot more hesitant about DQing an angler, because the expectation is that they would put that evidence out there. Right now, we expect, oh, they DQ'd him. Okay, but why? We heard this. Well, if there's no evidence, well, they're not going to say anything because they're afraid of getting sued. And we kind of accept that as the norm, which is one of the reasons why there's such an uproar right now about people just believing that Bass is, a dumpster fire right now. And just kind of making decisions willy-nilly and hurting its anglers. Put the information out there if you know it. If you have it, put it out there. If you don't have it, don't make these decisions. So that's my answer, Derek, to what the solution is that the organization needs to be willing to be transparent in what happened. And I don't want to get into some of these other ones, but there were other situations where anglers were DQ'd, where they put out a narrative, and there were a lot of anglers on the inside that knew that narrative was not accurate at all. But Bass didn't do anything to correct the narrative that the angler was putting out. Bass just let it happen. And public opinion was for the angler as opposed to Bass, and Bass had done the right thing in that situation, and they got crucified for it. It makes no sense. You hurt your own credibility when you aren't willing to put the information out. Anyway, guys, that's my 2 cents on it, and that's hopefully the last time I talk about this situation, because it's really not one that I know a whole lot about, but just knowing the generalities, I can tell you that answer, and I'd love to hear what your solutions are to it. Guys, if you haven't, hit the subscribe button. We do everything. We talk about the industry. We give fishing tips. We got Underwater Wednesday. We hope you'll be a part of Mark Fisher Outdoors, and we will see you tomorrow for another episode. Take care, everybody.